Today I want to talk to you about spontaneous Kriyas. Not sure what that is, or are you interested in learning more? Stick around and let's get into it. Hi, I'm Veronica, and welcome back to the Wholeness Shift. If this is your first time here, welcome. I teach people about easy, practical spirituality and intentional living and help you to navigate your spiritual awakening. If this is something that interests you, hit the subscribe button below. I wouldn't want you to miss out on anything good. Today we're talking about spontaneous Kriyas. And if you aren't sure what that is, Kriyas are involuntary movements that can happen during meditation or yoga, or even not, sometimes just anytime, that tend to happen during the process of a Kundalini awakening. They can look different for every single person that experiences them. They can look like twitching, vibrating, quivering, trembling, or they can be very almost violent appearing, spastic, jerky movements, or they can be extremely graceful and fluid. And they can just be movements, or you can actually be put into a yoga pose, even a very advanced one, or your hands can spontaneously go into different mudras. They can sometimes be alarming if you aren't sure what's happening or you don't know what's going on. It was for me, but they really are harmless. There is nothing to be afraid of with them, and it's actually a way of the universe helping you to heal and to expand and to grow. Kriyas are actually outward expressions of what's going on inwardly with your energy. It's the unblocking of pathways. It's the release of energy and even cellular memory, all the energy that may be clogging up the pipes, if you will. It's the releasing of that so that energy can flow more freely and so that it helps to release any past blockages from this lifetime or another one that you may be holding on to. And I've read that if the Kundalini energy that you're experiencing is more fluid and blissful, that your Kriyas can manifest as something more fluid and blissful. Whereas some people say that their Kundalini awakening was almost traumatic. You know, it was aggressive, to say the least. And so the Kriyas can tend to manifest in that way as well. Some of the videos that I've seen when I looked this up on YouTube, when I was trying to figure out what was going on with me, some of these other people are experiencing aggressive, traumatic looking things. They'll jerk and, flail. Mine are nothing like that. And I'm grateful for that. But if they are that way, there's nothing wrong. That's exactly what you need, and that's why it's happening. But I'm kind of glad that that's not what I needed right now. When Kundalini awakens, it allows your subconscious mind and any trapped energies to come to the surface so they can be released. A few years after I had my spiritual awakening, I had this spontaneous Kundalini awakening in the middle of the night one day. And it woke me up out of a sound sleep and terrified me. I had no idea what was happening. I had never heard of a Kundalini awakening. I didn't know what it was, and it scared the out of me. Like, seriously, I almost called 911. Like, I woke up and I was being flooded with the most powerful energy I'd ever experienced is an understatement. I mean, I was overtaken, overwhelmed by this super, super powerful energy like I've never felt before, and it wasn't stopping, and it was just rolling in waves over me. Vroom, 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 vroom. And I had no idea what was going on, and I jumped out of bed, and I'm yelling to my guides. I'm like, stop it. What are you guys doing to me? Make it stop. What's happening? And I'm like pacing all around the house in the dark, and I'm yelling like, stop it, please help me. And I had no idea what was happening. And finally, I just came to the realization that if it was something if they would choose to help me with, they would have. So this is happening for a reason. And physically, I was okay. This was all energetic. So what am I going to do? Go to the hospital and tell them I have these energy waves everywhere? They're going to think I'm crazy. So I just finally laid back down in bed and surrendered to it. I just rode the wave and surrendered. And it lasted, that initial wave lasted a couple of hours at least. However, the after effects of that, holy cow, the blissed out, beautiful nirvana, absolute bliss, lasted for weeks, at least 3 weeks. And it affected the way I talked. It affected the way I looked at people. I couldn't look at someone or talk to them without feeling the most overwhelming love and compassion for this person. And my voice softened, and it's like my voice just embodied all of this love. I could hardly see straight or hold a conversation. I had trouble driving. I refer to it as catnip. I felt catnipped. If you've ever seen a cat high on catnip where they're just like, like everything's good, man. That's how I felt. It was like the most pure energy of the divine had just descended on me and enveloped me, unfiltered. It slowly dissipated and I returned to normal, but it still happens regularly. It can happen spontaneously whenever my guides decide, or whoever decides, I don't even know how it works, whenever my guides decide that they're doing work on me or that I need an upgrade, or however Kundalini decides to work, I don't even know. But it can happen spontaneously, and then I can be catnipped out for days, weeks, months, however long. Or if I double down on my meditation practice, or I start really diving deep and raising my vibes, it's almost guaranteed to happen then too. Have you guys had a Kundalini awakening? What was your experience? Let me know in the comments below. And while you're at it, hit the like button and the subscribe button. So sometime within the last year, I can't exactly say when, because 2020. Everything in 2020 is a blur. It's like, did something happen 3 months ago, or was that 10 months ago? I don't know. It was during 2020. Anyway, sometime within the last year, I noticed that during meditation, my head was beginning to sway and move in different ways. And then I noticed that it didn't just want to happen during meditation, but all the time. And it's kind of like moms. Have you gotten so used to standing and like rocking your baby or swaying back and forth with your baby that even when you're not holding the baby, you catch yourself swaying? It's kind of the same thing. It's like that energy is always there. And whether I'm meditating or not, if I give into that energy for only half of a second, I'm back in the movements. It has control. Well, I can control it, but if I surrender to it, it will take over. So when I began researching these movements, I learned that these are called spontaneous Kriyas. And as I talked about earlier, sometimes they're really aggressive movements, and sometimes they manifest as more of a graceful, fluid movement. And that's the kind that has manifested in me, the very graceful, fluid, gentle movements. And they're full of that blissed out nirvana catnip energy. So back to the Kriyas. They're not random either. There's an absolute intelligence to these things. And I can often, especially in the beginning, I could feel it moving my head in a very patterned way, almost like a grid-like fashion. What it was doing was it was lining me up. It was almost tuning me like a radio dial. And it was moving my body, in particular my head, into certain positions to release energy that was stuck there. So for weeks, maybe even months, I could feel like when I was meditating, my head would move and then it'd stop, maybe back up and dial in a little bit, and then I'd feel energy shoot. And as soon as the energy would dissipate and die down, it would keep moving, and then it'd stop again. And the same thing would happen. And it would go back and forth and then down a half an inch and do it this way, and then down and do it this way until, it'd start here and then all like this. And now it does kind of different things. Now it's actually started more with my upper body and my torso included, and my hands will go into mudras, or it will, they'll go into different hand positions. I mean, it's kind of unpredictable what happens. It's just whatever happens, whatever I need that day, I guess. I've learned to stop judging it and just surrender to it, because what do I know about it? They know what I need more than I know what I need half of the time, so I just surrender to it. Now, if I need to stop it, I can. I mean, I have control over my body, but it's not easy. It's very compelling energy. It feels really good, and it's hard to resist it. But I've learned from the research I've done that it's important to keep on top of that control of being able to stop it. Because, I mean, it's one thing when you're home, it's private, you're meditating, to do it. However, if you constantly surrender to the energy and let it run amok, if you will, it becomes harder and harder and harder to resist it. And there have been people who have lost their jobs or been hospitalized because it's very awkward to be in social situations because your body is just always making these weird movements. So stay on top of it if it happens to you, and just make sure that you maintain the ability to stop when needed. For example, right now I have it stopped because I'm filming and it's not appropriate to proceed. However, if I surrender to it for even a few seconds, it'll happen. Here, bear with me. I'll give you just a little taste of it. I don't know what's going to happen today, but we'll see. Okay, I have to stop it. But you can see how it just, sometimes my head will just sway. Sometimes it just turns into a certain spot and it just freezes there. Sometimes my hands get involved. I mean, it can do really anything it wants. It feels wonderful. It feels beautiful. And I can feel every time it locks into a position, energy releases. I get this burst of, like the inside of a lock when you put a key in, or a safe, you're turning the dial and the cogs start locking in place. I can feel when this turns here, it matches up with something here and energy will shoot down. So it's very interesting. If you guys have any experience with this, please let me know what your experience is. And if you know anything about it, school me because this is all so new to me that I would like to learn more. So I'm just learning as I go. So you guys are learning about it as I'm learning about it. And it's truly just a method of cleansing you and part of the healing process. It's just one more way that the universe helps you to grow and expand. So I say bring it on. The important thing is to not judge it. Like I said, just surrender to it and allow it. Okay, we'll talk soon. Merry Christmas, you guys.